Welcome to part 2 of episode 36. In this video we're going to be fitting the custom unit we built on part 1. We're also going to be fitting a worktop, a microwave and a hob in the worktop. In part 1 of this episode I built this custom unit. I also cut this backboard ready to fit, but I didn't fit it on in the video because I wanted to give it an undercoat before fitting it. It's now dry and fitted on there, and this will help keep the unit square. So now that's done, I'm ready to fit it, and then we can start on the worktops. This bit of the van here kicks out a bit. It sort of comes this way and it comes up that way. So I cut this out so this is against there because I want to screw this to this beam here with an L bracket. So that gets a bit better fit by cutting that out. We're not going to see it because it's behind the unit, and we're now ready to screw it down. So what I've done is I've drawn lines across here, and I'll be fitting some L brackets to the floor, and then I'll just lift the unit on top of it and slot it in. Once that's done, then I'll screw these two together, because this is only screwed to the wall at the back, so the front isn't screwed to anything yet. So they will hold each other together. The bracket will hold it there, and another bracket here that will hold it down, and then that will hold it to the wall. Obviously, with it being a van, we've got to make sure it's really secure. We're going around corners and over bumps. Saying that, over bumps is something else I thought about. In a normal application in the house, this would be pretty good, but there's going to be a microwave on here. It's not that heavy, but if we're going over a bump, that pressure might sort of damage this. So I'm thinking about putting some blocks in under here. Just get these little connector boxes for kitchens. So I'm going to put them under there. You can get black ones, so you won't really see them. But I thought I'd put them in for extra security on that shelf, because we don't want that to pop out or crack. So these brackets are now screwed in. That's held to the floor. And then I've got one over there as well. I'll do one last fixing down here. The hinges will go here. So I've worked out the sort of height of the hinge. The middle of the hinge is 72 and it's about 35mm back. So I'll put a screw there. Once the hinge goes on, it won't be in the way of the screws, and it won't be visible. So I'm going to screw that up. I'll probably put a clamp back on there. There's a bit of a gap there, so once I clamp that, and that will pull that nice and tight. And then that is the unit fitted. We can move on to the worktops. One thing I noticed is the wall kicks back in here further than the back of this worktop. I can't get the level to it, so basically I've put it the same measurement back from the front, which is 242mm. So I know that is 242 millimeters. Then if I measure from the wall to the front of there, which is 73, to add them together, then that is your distance from the front of these units to the back of the wall. I cut myself a bit of worktop. So basically it's overhanging 40mm. I want it to be overhanging by about 25mm. So I have lined it up so it's 40mm both sides, and then I have marked this at 15mm. So every time there's a change in direction or whatever, I'm not going to follow into this bit here because this needs to be removed. Might need to be removed, should I say. So I'm just going to go around it. I think that gets cut off anyway. I think the back will get cut off, but once I've pushed it back and I can mark it, I'll cut it off. So yeah, 15mm, just following all the contours, 15mm. I'll now cut all this out, and it should push back tight against here, and then I'll mark the back, cut the back off, and just got to cut this end off. I'm running out of daylight, so I need to get cracking on with this. Once it's pushed back, then I'll mark it here. Where it goes, it'll just be sticking out slightly down the bottom or whatever, slightly more than the bottom, and then it will just a bit of an angle on there. So I've got to put some edging strip on it. So I'm going to get this cut and then push back and then work out all the other cuts. I've cut the back off. I've cut around that shape there. I just got to cut it down a little bit to the right length now. It's dark outside, so I'm not doing anything now apart from working out the cuts. I've also drawn along here, and I've marked this angle here. So now I'm going to flip it over and transfer the line onto the bottom. Whenever you're cutting worktops, because the way the circular saw blade spins, it's best to cut them upside down. There's my line. I've come 25mm away from that one. 25mm forward. Then that's where I'm going to cut that off and put some edging strip on there. So now that it's dark, I can't do much cutting. I am going to fit the door. So because it's a custom unit, I'm going to have to sort of work out the hinge positions. I don't really have to work them out because it's the same size door as this, or that. You know, it's wider, but the width is right, so we can take measurements from here. Although this is slightly different because this is an inset hinge and I'm putting an overlay hinge on. I have Howden's kitchens at home, so I just went and got the measurement for the holes, which I don't even know what it was. I just lined my square up with the holes on the unit and the carcass, and then I've transferred them lines there. And then with these ones, I've done them 70mm down, the new holes. So the unit is always 4mm bigger than the door. Well, the door's normally 4mm smaller than the size of the unit. So the opening's 360 and the door will be 356. So what I've done is done 72 down, 72 up. That'll give me the center of the hinges. So then I can center that across now. And then I can work out the spacing for the holes, which is 32mm, so it would be 16mm up and down. I could just take that off of the 72 or add it on to 72 to get my bottom line, top line. So yeah, I'll probably just do that. So now I've got my fixing screws for my hinges. They're 6mm holes. I'll probably go in with a 3mm first, 10mm depth, and then open it up with a 6mm. And that's all you got to do for that side. For the top, I think all I've got is just the centre mark, 70mm. So now what I'll do is I'll find the centre of this hole and transfer that to here. Then I can again probably drill these out with a 3mm just to get a centre hole, and then I will get my drill bit. Can't think what they're called now. Forstner bit to drill out a 35mm hole for the hinge to sit in. So that's the hinges done. These are also quick release as well. Might be able to do it with one hand. There you go. So all I've got to do now is just drill these other holes at the bottom there to the right depth at 5 or 6mm, and then I can screw the back plate for the hinge on and then put it all together. Back plates are done now, so I'm just going to hook the door on there and then that is done. Next job is to put a latch and a handle on it. And the final cuts on this worktop. I'm going to leave it here for a bit. It's going to rain soon, so I'm going to get as much cutting as I can done before it rains, and then this is something I can do inside while it's raining. I had a bit of a change of plan with this board. So originally it was cut here and straight, and I had to put something on there. So I thought, well, I'm going to put a lip in on here anyway, and along the bottom. So I thought I might as well just cut this. So I had to cut a new bit, but I had a spare bit. And I'm going to put the lip in on here, up to the worktop on, and then more lip in. And whatever, I'm going to put the cladding on, or the lipping goes on there anyway, just to hide this edge. So I'm going to get that lipping done now, hopefully. It's not raining yet, so I might be able to cut that quickly. I've done that little trim piece there. And now we're ready for the worktop. I think it works out a lot better like that. I'm going to have to do another trim along here. I'll just use this bit here, just to get the line in, get it in line. So I've got to put one across the front, but that's never been that important, so I never got around to doing it. Yeah, so I'm going to get the worktop on, get another trim up there, then we've got to put something across here. Not sure what I'm going to do with that yet. Maybe backsplash, the same as the kitchen on the other side. We shall see. I'm ready to get the edging done on this worktop, so I'm going to do that now. Then I can go fit the worktop. I've had a bit of a change of plan with this unit. So basically, the original unit was 500 overall. Now, when you buy a unit from Howden's for a 500 door, the unit is 500, but then the unit's white, so you have to put end panels on the side. Now, this will increase the weight. That's why I built it the way I did. The other reason was because the microwave is about 460. So with a 500 cupboard, the internal is 464. And then the door will sit flush on the front, which again, the microwave sticks out a little bit, so that's the reason I've done it like that. The other cupboards in the kitchen I built with inset doors. I've now changed it, so that's not, this is the microwave shelf, which the legs are drilled into. I'm going to cut out part of it here because we can remove the weight and it's got better ventilation. The reason I've changed it is because the cutout for the hob is 490. Now the internal size here is now 500. It was 464. So that's that basically. That's the reason why I built it the way I did in the beginning, because the microwave sticks out, so the door sits in the front, and the width. And the reason I couldn't come out too much further is because of the fridge and buying the panels. Now if I made it like 320 or whatever, I basically cut these panels in half, and then I used half for the shelves. Yeah, so I basically bought this big sheet of thing. I managed to get 2 sides and 1 shelf out of it. And then when I cut down these sides, I get the top shelves off the offcut. Now, I've left a gap because that's just how it worked out on the thing, but that gives me ventilation, and I also can drop the plug behind there. It might not go quite like it is. I might have to undo the side, but the cable will go through there. I'll have to undo the side, pull it back, drop the plug down, and then push it back again. So yeah, basically that is what I've done. I've made it bigger by changing these shelves and setting them back. I had to set them back a bit because this was the old shelf, but it's not a problem because I just used the other offcut I had, set it back, and I've used this. So the holes for the fittings are in the back. It doesn't really matter because I'm going to cut it out. The microwave's going to sit in there with holes, so it stops it from moving. And the internal is now 500, and the hob cutout is 490. Now I didn't want to cut into the sides here because it is possible, but because we're only going to be leaving 5mm either side, it doesn't leave much room for ventilation as well, because it's a hob getting hot. So I just didn't like that idea. And the reason I'd done it like that originally was because the microwave fitted better. But then there's 2 reasons why I've changed it, because the hob cutout sits better, but the other reason is I wanted this as one full piece of worktop, because this is going to be a step for getting up into the bed. It doubles up as a step, like that's the bottom step. The bench can be the middle step, so it just helps you getting up in the bed. So I don't want a joint in it. Normally, because the joint would be here or somewhere, and the hob cutout will disturb where the fixings for the joint goes. And the other reason is I need this piece that sits on here needs to also sit on here. Now it's not going to work with the old unit like that, especially if I'm cutting it right out. So that's why I redesigned it, because I made the worktop one piece. I stuck a trim on the front and edging. I've shown you in the video. And it doesn't look that great. I tried to do it, it didn't work. I've never done it before. I always joint them, but because of the application here, it wasn't working for me. Just marked out the feet position for this, so now I've got that. Also worked out what I'm going to cut out the middle part, just to reduce the weight. And also there's some lower parts of the microwave, so it's going to allow for better ventilation. Okay, so that's that piece done. So now I'm going to drop the microwave in and see how it sits. That's come out really nice. I'm happy with that. I just got to put that panel in the top there. And then the door, I had to order new hinges because the door will now be inset. So anyway, my main concern is this worktop now. I'm really struggling to figure out a plan. I don't like this bit here. It's like a lip. Yeah, it didn't really work out. I've never done it before, but I just didn't know what to do. A bit limited on space. So I don't like the idea of jointing it, especially if it's a hob. It could get hot. I just don't know if it's going to affect the joint. I can't really put any mechanical fixings in there. There's only such a small bit each side. So what I'm thinking is I might try and router this out and try and router around this so that the chipboard is lower than the edging, which is going to be a bloody nightmare, I think. If I can get this bit routed out round here, pretty much round there, without chipping this stuff, and then I'll be able to put a new piece of edging out. I had a little pack of multi-bits, so I've got a brand new bit on there, so I didn't chip it as much. I managed to route it out. It's incredibly difficult. This is my second attempt, because I realised the curve starts over here, so I can't take any of this off here, and I've done a little chip on it. Not a chip, but a bit. And then I didn't really follow this line. I went over it, and then I tried to shape it myself, and it didn't really work. So I followed it, but I'd left, it's not completely followed it, but I can just sort of use a file or something to finish that up. So now I've got to try and cut it on the track, so the only problem is the tracksaw cuts that way. So on this board, if I lay another piece of board on, I can put the track the other way around, or I might actually use a bearing guided router with a straight edge or something on there, from the top probably. I am going to attempt that now, and we'll see how we get on with it. So I've managed to do it now. I've just got to try and shape it, get it right. It's a bit deeper than it needs to be. So I use the knife and try and shape this and get it to how it needs to be. It's going to be a bit of a tricky job. I'm not really looking forward to doing it, but I need to get it done. The way I'm doing this is sanding like that, and then it leaves a bit of a brown edge on there. Then I use a knife and just to get the wood out, cut it out, and then I'm using these tile cores, just turning them really gently. Well, I'm pressing hard, but I'm pushing it down and turning it, just to making sure I don't split the edge there. And then I've got this little one for the corners. I'm going to keep working this until this lines up. So that is ready. I've put the contact adhesive on there. I'm going to put a bit of colour fill around here first, because where I've been using them tile bits, I think it's sort of indented it a bit. And then I'll get the contact adhesive on there. It's a bit more porous on there, so I always do it second, and then leave it to go tacky, then put it on. I'm ready to put this back together now to get the worktop on. So I've just put this batten in here, so it gives me something to fix the cladding on here, and this, and then something I can fix it at the bottom with. So now it's done, I can put the unit back in, and then we can get the worktop on here. I just fitted the front panel for this. I used a door, so we've got the ends, it's the right same size as the door then, so it matches in, and that just clips on there. This obviously needs to be removable because the microwave needs to lift up and slide out, so it won't slide out. That's how I'm fitting it in there. So that's that done. I'm ready to get the worktop on now. I also done the edging on the end last night, and this little return bit here, but this was the main bit. Like I said, I didn't know what to do at first because I just cut it and stuck it on, and obviously meaning that it was a lip, the thickness of this, but shaping that like that and rebating it was really difficult. But I'm glad I've done that in the end, because I'm happy with how it turned out, and it looks like a really neat, nice job. I've just done the inset hinges and the latch, and now this unit is complete. So I'm going to end this episode here, and I'm going to start a new episode with fitting the hob and the wiring for the sockets for the microwave and the hob. Thank you for watching this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, we found it helpful, please hit that like button. And if you're interested to see how this unit's going to turn out with the hob fitted, subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for the next episode.